If you don't have time to grind and you want to buy a stacked account in 2K with max badges, a nice record, and a high overall, hit up sportstnb.com. The link is on the screen, and you can find the link in both the comment section and in the description. Yeah, don't mind me guys, I'm just up early on a Saturday morning, being a fucking nerd basically, because we're at that point in the season, we're heading into Christmas, and I was just curious on some of the stats in this season, looking at some of the leaders, looking at some of the trends, and I honestly didn't really notice, or I wasn't paying attention to the fact that Lebron James is leading the league in assists. Year 17 at age 35, we all the typical stuff. But that got me interested in looking at some calculations because about 2 years ago, when he was still in Cleveland, I made a video talking about him possibly being the statistical GOAT. That was before I knew he was leaving Cleveland, that was before I knew what kind of teams he was going to be on, and obviously he's found himself in the perfect situation to really accomplish what I was talking about, because now he's on the team with Anthony Davis, which can really, it has the potential to extend his career, because he doesn't have to go so hard as he did in like when it was 2018 and he was in Cleveland, and he didn't really have another co-star to take pressure off of him. He's got shooters everywhere, guys are excelling at their roles, so it really cuts down on the pressure he has to put on his own body and puts him in an ideal situation to do what he's doing right now. Top 10 in scoring, he's averaging 26 points a game, and if you round up, it's actually 11 assists a game he's averaging right now. 7 rebounds, that's the typical stuff, always super efficient. But I found this really interesting. So we're 23 games in now, we're moving on from that stage where we can just say, oh, it's mad early. Like for certain things, sure, but for a player like LeBron, like this is just consistency. And so I wanted to take a look at what he's on pace to do this season and possibly even beyond. But specifically because right now we actually have some data to go off of, we can look at what he's on pace to do and where he is on pace to be, and then just kind of go from there. So right now LeBron sits very comfortably. He sits at 33,132 points and 8,908 assists. I'm not really focusing on rebounds for this section, but because it might be important later, he is at 9,040 rebounds. Currently averages, like I said, 26 points, 11 assists, and 7 rebounds. So very obviously, this is give or take, this is plus or minus, but if you look at the what he's averaging right now, and you look at the games they have left, and especially with what he's already said, he said if there's no injuries, if nothing goes wrong, he plans on playing all 82. We can't see in the future, but assuming that goes, and we're just looking at what he's on pace to do, he's on pace to score around 1,534 more points by the time this season is over. With his assist numbers and the team that's around him and what he's doing in the numbers, that's what we're looking at is the numbers. He's on pace to specifically dish out about 649 more assists, so that's almost 650 assists. And again, the rebounds are not at all the focus of this video, but just because that'll be important by the end, right now he's on pace to grab about 413 more. Okay, so if you take that and add that to where he is right now, we are on Saturday the 7th. By the end of this season, he is poised to have around 2,123 points, 895 assists, and 573 rebounds. Now the points, that's pretty marginal for him. I mean, it's better than he's done, except for 2018, that's better than he's done basically since around his Miami days. So even with one of his lower averages, if he keeps it up, he will end up with kind of like around his 2011 numbers when he first played with Dwayne Wade, so that kind of makes sense. Because that was the year that Dwayne Wade and him, they didn't really know who the number one was, and this year he's basically said like he wants AD to go as hard as he can. They want to play through him some nights, so that actually lines up perfectly. However, the 895 assist total would blow his best years out of the water. Like 2018 was the year he had the most assists. That's when he was just doing everything out of necessity. He had 747 assists that year, so that was his best assist year. He's on pace right now to blow that out by 100 and like actually 100 plus. More like around 150. So check out what that does to his all-time standing. This is where it gets really interesting. So adding what he's expected to add on in this next 59 games, that would put him at 34,666 points, 9,557 assists, and 9,453 rebounds. That points total would cause him to pass Kobe Bryant. He would be third all-time by the end of this season, and that's going to be a hell of a day, him passing Kobe Bryant in a Lakers jersey. Oh, that's going to be fun. But yeah, it is probably going to happen this year. As it sits right now, he's currently only 500 points behind Kobe, so yeah, that's definitely going to happen this year, unless something tragic happens. As we speak, he currently sits 10th all-time in assist leaders, and if he ends up, because it looks like with the team he has around him, he could easily end up keeping this up and leading the league in assists, ending up with the 9.5k assists. He's going to end up around 8th or 7th, completely depending on what happens with Chris Paul. Now, Chris Paul is getting his burn in OKC. Last time I checked, he was averaging a career low assist though. Now, even with that, I did some very quick math. And with Paul's assists being at an all-time low, it's 6 assists a game. He's still on pace to end up with around 9,600 assists this year, so very close to where LeBron is supposed to end up. However, being that Chris Paul is still playing, he's still active, it will be hard for LeBron to pass him up this year. I think Paul is going to have to retire first, because even if Paul is not scoring anymore when he's playing, he's still going to be dishing out assists, and just being that they're running it up at the same time, it'll be hard for LeBron to make up that difference while both of them are still playing. However, I think it's fair to say, and this is more towards the end of the video, but it's fair to say at some point LeBron James is actually going to pass CP3 in assists. That's fucking ridiculous. CP3 is one of the best point guards of all time. He's the guy He's the guy, when you bring him up, you talk about his passing, and at this rate, LeBron James, at the rate their careers are going and their situations, LeBron will actually end up passing him by the end of his career. I just realized that. But anyways, yes, it is most likely he's going to end up 8th this year, all-time assists. And with the rebounding, all you need to know is that he's going to end up top 50. Of course, rebounding is more of a power forward center thing, but it's more important that the number that he's going to end up with. So like I said, around 9,453 rebounds. So let's chat here, because LeBron is actually in a better position than even I thought he would be a couple of years ago when I made that statistical projection video. He's never in his career led the league in assists for a full season, and with the team he has, that could happen. The other data that we've gotten since I made that video is that he has not really slowed down. He had the injury last year, but he still had pretty good stats for the 55 games he played. He's looking really good and healthy this year, and he's in an ideal situation. Also, with him about to turn 35 years old, he's not slowing down. He's really just kind of shifting roles a bit because he has another MVP, a legitimate MVP and Defensive Player of the Year candidate on his team. So again, we have no crystal balls here, but it's very realistic that LeBron James could duplicate the type of performance he's having right now onto next season, correct? Because AD and him are probably still going to be there just based off of what's going on right now. They're probably still going to be there, probably still going to be contending. Team is probably still going to be really good. And so LeBron is just, he can just do his thing, and we have not confirmed whether he's human or not yet. So if Father Time does not drag his numbers down and he's able to just flourish in this situation, what if he has a season like he's on pace to have right now next season? I'm only going up to next season because, as you all know, with his contract, he signed for 4 years, but that 4th year is an option. So next year, the 2021 season will be the 3rd year of his deal, and that's as far as we know with his career. We have no idea where it goes from there. We don't know if he signs, if he goes somewhere to retire, or we have no clue what he's gonna do. But if he goes on to do the best he can do this season, and he was able to duplicate that next season, he would be breathing down the neck of Karl Malone. He would be around 36,700 points. That's only a couple of hundred off of Karl Malone. Now, again, with AD on the team, and because we assume age will play some factor, probably not going to catch him next year, but he'll be right there. And with his assist totals, his assists, that's probably not going away regardless. His court vision is always at an all-time level, again, playing with AD and shooters. If anything, that could just get better next year if he decided that he doesn't need to score as much and he just needs to dish more. If anything, that could literally get better. And if it did, and if he had a season like he's having right now, like he's on pace to have right now, the man could end up with around 10,400 assists. 10,400 assists by the end of the 2021 season. That would put him in 3rd all time. That would put him above guys like Magic Johnson, Chris Paul, Steve Nash, Oscar Robertson. Guys who literally, more so for like Steve Nash and Magic, guys who literally, when you think of them, you think of their passing. LeBron at small forward, in all likelihood, will pass those guys. And so by the end of next season, that would put him at 3rd all-time scoring. He will be at 3rd all-time scoring, probably not going to pass Malone. That's going to happen this year. And 3rd all-time assist. And finally, if his rebounding numbers stay stable, I don't really expect those to go up because of the team he's playing on, especially with AD. Doesn't really need him as much as he might have in the past. But okay, if he just has a year like he's having right now and brings that into next year, LeBron is looking at just eking over that 10K mark for rebounds. Just getting over it. If he does what he's doing right now and he sustains that through the 2021 season. So by the end of the inked deal that he has with the Lakers, the 3 years that we know he signed for, that would put him at around 36K points, 10,000 assists, and 10,000 rebounds. The reason this is so interesting to me is because of the video I made a few years ago when we had no clue what the next few years of his career looked like, and now we do. We know that up to now, he really doesn't slow down at all. A year and a half is not as long as it sounds, so if you're talking about what does LeBron James look like in 2021, like April, May, those months, you know, like mid 2021, what does he still look like? With all the data we have so far, it's probably not much different than he looks like today, just with what we have to go off of. Again, no crystal balls here. But it's a beautiful situation he has, so what does he do with that last option year? If him and AD have won at least one title, or if they've been really competing, they won one title and they were heavily competing for another, does he just go ahead and ink that last year with LA and try to go out on top? Because from where we're sitting today, that seems like it would be most logical. With them being title contenders today, with what he looks like, it kind of seems like by the end of next year when he's wondering what to do with his contract, or the end of next season, again, a whole lot can change in the year. We just saw with Golden State, injuries or anything, but from where we sit today, it does seem like he could just ink with LA and go again. Now, by that point, he's pushing like 37, 38 years old. I would assume some resemblance of his human genetics would kick in, but let's just say he just for fun, right? Just for hypothetical best case scenarios, let's say he duplicates the pace he has right now. Just because if anybody could do that, LeBron James could. If he could do that, you're looking at around 38,900 points, 11,300 assists, and 10,500 rebounds. That would mark him above Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That would make him the all-time leading scorer in NBA history. However, for assists, that would not change a thing. He would just have a ridiculous number of assists, but he would still stand behind Jason Kidd and John Stockton, who both have crazy numbers. They have 15K and 12K. So that ain't happening. More than likely that ain't happening. LeBron would have to take, you know, assist or league leading assist numbers into multiple seasons past his LA year, or like maybe one or two more. And we don't even know if he's playing anymore after that. We have no clue what it'll look like. So that's not as likely, but the points thing kind of wows you. For career totals, that puts him at 38, 11, and 10. So yeah, again, this is best case scenario. This is assuming that he stays healthy, that his team stays healthy, that they continue to contend. Pretty much everything goes right, but so far in his career, for him individually, most everything has gone right. The most he's ever dealt with is like the groin that happened last year, and before that it was just like sprained ankles. But yeah, at this point, if he wants it, he can become the all-time leading scorer. And if his body would allow it, which again I highly doubt, if his body would allow it though, and he could go on for like maybe just one more year, that's after his LA deal is done. He would have to sign a new contract by this point. If his body would allow it, he could chase 40K, but like every single thing would have to go right. Like he would have to not age at all. From where he is today, he would have to not age at all to get to 40K. So I don't know about that one. But all-time leading scorer from where we sit today is kind of well within his reach. So take it for what you will. I've never gotten along with LeBron stans, but I do appreciate greatness, and this is just fucking great. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button, comment, and sub, and also hit the bell next to my name if you want notifications every time a new video drops. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.